Welcome back. As I'm sure you know, the world is a rough and tumble place very often. And so our brain is set up to warn us of danger. We got to know that the tiger is coming out of the woods and he's going to come and eat us. And so that fear and that anxiety is built into the brain. It's part of the right amygdala, the center of doom in the body. We got to know that. Even in our modern age, you're jogging down the street and a dog comes out and it's a pit bull and you got to run. You got to know, you got to have that inside of you. You're driving down the freeway, somebody cuts in front of you, it's too tight, you have to move, right? And all of that is part of your brain, that warning system. Something has to be done. But when we get into corporate world, or we get into daily turbulations of first world problems, the anxiety can be overwhelming, and it can be a sustained anxiety. And of course, this is not productive for our cells or the brain. But the brain is just doing its job. But yet we can train it to free ourselves from anxiety. And so that's what we're going to do today. I wanted to teach you how to free yourself from anxiety. I did this therapy with a woman one time, and the whole therapy, I think it took a couple hours, and she had been dealing with anxiety for, I think she told me 24 years she'd been dealing with this anxiety. And at the end of the call, she was very happy, but she goes, "Where the hell have you been?" Because she didn't understand how this isn't just everywhere. How is it possible that not every therapist knows this? It's a very, very good point. And I was very happy that she was free from her anxiety and could move forward in her life easily and effortlessly. So that's what I want for you today. And so let's get into it. The thing that we have to understand is, when it's not a jungle problem like a tiger coming up to us, and it's a first world problem where we're looking in our corporate ladder, or we're looking at our paycheck, or we're looking at our bank account, or we're looking inside of a relationship and we have a lot of anxiety, the truth of the matter is that we really don't know what's going to happen. We really don't know how things are going to turn out, because it's so easy for all of those things to change very rapidly. One of the best examples of this is a football team. So you have one very good football team going up against maybe a not so good football team. And you would say, looking at those teams, well, obviously the more prepared and the stronger football team is going to win. And so then you would just bet all your money on that and you would make money, right? Vegas would bet on that team. But there's something going on in the betting system, because they've done this enough that they know there's something called an upset. And the underdog will suddenly win the match. And so that comes down to probability and all that, and it's very complicated. But the truth of the matter is, if you were to bet enough times, which I haven't done, but this is what I understand. If you were to bet enough times, then you would understand that you really never know what's going to happen, and things can change in an instant. And it's very, very difficult to bet on a game, any game, and predict its outcome with any kind of accuracy over and over and over again. It's almost impossible, because there are so many factors that come into it. It always will remain an unknown. So when we understand that about million-dollar football teams, when we look at that, and then we look at our lives, how much more chance for an upset is there? And so we have to understand that. We have to know that principle, that we never really quite know how things are going to turn out. So if we think we do, then we are deluding ourselves. And so if you think of a football coach coming into his team, and they're the underdog team, and he goes, "Well, I don't even know why we're walking out on the field. You know, I guess it's for a paycheck. Okay, just go out there and I don't know, do something and then we'll go home. Well, of course they would fire that coach because that's not a good coaching, isn't it? What the coach has to do is he has to come into his underdogs and say, we don't know what's going to happen, but let's get out there. Let's give it 110%. Do everything you can. We've got a plan. We've been working on it. Let's work our plan. Let's go move forward. Let's dig in. Let's do our very best and let's see what happens. That's going to inspire everybody on the team. They're going to come out. They're going to do their very best. And now we come down to those laws of probability and fate. We don't know what's going to happen, but as everybody puts in their 110%, we can be sure that the outcome will be interesting. And that's what we want. And lo and behold, very often the underdog will cause an upset and they will win the match. And that's how we can be in our own lives. So if we're looking out into the future and we say to ourselves, oh, there's no way I'm going to win that. Well, we're being the bad coach. And wouldn't it be better if we went ahead and encouraged ourselves and imagined a positive outcome? It doesn't mean that we have to be a Pollyanna and kind of hide our eyes from the truth. That's not what we're doing. We're taking in the facts. We're doing our very best. And we don't know what's going to happen exactly, but we're hoping for the very, very best. And that is the kind of positive attitude that creates change. And it becomes what the psychologists call a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, sometimes it has to work up some steam. It takes a while, but this self-fulfilling prophecy has the power to transform our lives when we dig in, when we believe in it, when we believe in ourselves, when we believe in what we're doing. It has the power to transform us. So that's my little speech before anxiety, the timeline therapy anxiety cure. And so let's get into that. So first we have to know where our timelines are. And so just for a moment, go ahead and point to your future. Don't think, just go ahead and point to your future wherever you think it might be in relation to yourself right now. Try not to rationalize it. I don't want you to think too much. Just point to it. And if you're having a little trouble, I want you to think, where is next week? Where is next month? Where is it in relation to you? And you might point over here. You might point over there. You might point up. You might, I don't know where you're going to point, but go ahead and point. And now that you have your future, go ahead and point to your past, wherever you think it might be. Maybe it's behind you, maybe it's to the left, maybe it's to the right. I don't know where it's going to be. But just point to your past now, easily and effortlessly. Now that you know where your future and your past are, can you see that they form a line? They do, don't they? Or maybe they're in front of you like me. And you see that they form a line in front of you, or maybe they're going through you. It doesn't matter. Now I want you to very easily, using your active imagination, float up above your timeline, easily and effortlessly. Sometimes people say, oh, there's like a wall here. I can't float up too high. If that's the case, I want you to open up a trap door. I just gave you a trap door. Open it up and just float right up easily and effortlessly, and float up so high that you look down on that timeline like it's a ruler, you know, below you. And just feel what it feels like to be up there, above it all. Isn't it nice up there? Enjoy that for a moment, that feeling of being above it all. So let's go through what we're going to do. We're going to find in our future timeline an event where we would be anxious about. Maybe we already know where it is, or maybe we're going to find one where we feel anxious about that event. And then I'm going to have you float through the positive outcome of that event. It has to be a positive outcome. And to you do this, you might need to use your imagination to figure out how this might come out positive. But whatever you do, it has to be a positive. So you don't know, right? So why would you put something dark and mysterious, right? Go ahead and make something positive there because we don't know. And following the rules of upset, we know that it very well could turn out beautifully for us. So we might as well imagine that and help us pole ourselves in a positive direction. So now you floated through the positive outcome, and then we're going to float up above and way past it. And you'll notice that creates this angle. We're going to look back towards now. That's the magic. That's where the magic happens for anxiety. But look at this angle here. You see this triangle? That is the magic position that erases the negative emotion of anxiety. All right, so that's how that works. And if we were to go into the past, the same rules apply. We're going to find the negative emotion, the very first event. We're going to float up above it. We're going to ask the unconscious mind to preserve the positive learnings. We're going to look towards now, above and before. Look at that same angle. There it is. That same magic angle, that same magic position where we are above and before the event. So anxiety, we're just flipping that around and we're doing it in the future. And it works the same way for anxiety, which is in the future timeline. All right, then we're going to float all the way back to now, easily and effortlessly, and that's the program. That's what we're going to do. So let's try it out. So now I want you to go ahead and float up above your timeline and float out all the way into your future and I want you to find easily and effortlessly, find an event about which you feel anxious, about which you feel uncertain and anxious. When you find that event, I want you to float through the positive outcome. This is very important. It has to be a positive outcome. Following the rules of upset, we don't know what's going to happen, so let's go ahead and make it something beautiful so that we can attract our unconscious minds to a positive outcome. All right? So go ahead and float through the positive outcome, and after you do that, make sure it's positive. It has to be, or go back and do it again and make sure it's positive. After you float through the positive outcome, float up above that event and float way after all of the chain of events in that event of the positive outcome. Turn and look towards now. And now, where is the anxiety? Where is the anxiety in that one event? Can you see it back there in that one event? Now, if you can see the anxiety in that event, I want you to float back down and go through the event again, float through the positive outcome. It has to be positive, all right? Then float past it, up above, and after it, turn and look towards now. Now, where is the anxiety in that event? Well, you floated through the positive outcome, therefore the anxiety is gone, isn't it? That's right, it's gone, isn't it? Now, I want you to make sure you're looking towards now and float all the way back to now, only as fast as you can let go of all of that anxiety, all the way back to now on that one event. Easily and effortlessly, like knocking down dominoes, all the way back to now, easily and effortlessly. Now, once you get back to now, go ahead and float right back down into your body. And how do you feel? When you look inside of yourself, do you feel a little bit lighter? A little bit happier? A little bit more calm and relaxed? If that's the case, wonderful. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to do this 3 times, okay? Always 3. So we're going to float up above for anxiety. Float up above your timeline. Float out. I want you to find another event about which, in your future, anywhere in your future, about which you feel anxious or uncertain. Once you find the event, go ahead and float through the positive outcome using your active imagination. Remember the rule of upset, we don't know what's going to happen exactly, so go ahead and walk yourself through a positive outcome easily and effortlessly on that one event. When you get to the end of the event, float up above that event and go ahead and float way past it, all of the chain of events, and then turn and look towards now, easily and effortlessly. Now, as you look towards now, the question is, where's that anxiety on that one event? Is it there or is it gone now? That's right. And by now, you're probably getting better at this, aren't you? It's getting easier. If there's still anxiety in that event, any anxiety, any tiny little thread, go ahead back down into that event. Make sure you walk through a totally positive outcome on that event. Float up above it and way past it, and then turn around and look towards now along your timeline. Now, where is the anxiety on that one event? Remember, we're not looking for any other emotion, only anxiety or whatever feeling you felt initially. Anxiety or unease or uncertainty, whatever it was, we're only looking for that one thing. So turn and look towards now. Now, where is that anxiety in that event? Is it there or is it gone now? That's right. That's right. So when you know it's gone, go ahead and float all the way back to now, easily and effortlessly, only as fast as you can let go of all of the anxiety, all the way back to now. That's right. All the way back to now. All right, let's do it one more time. How do you feel, by the way? How do you feel? Do you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit more calm, a little brighter, a little more clarity is coming to mind? It's a beautiful thing to erase these negative emotions from our lives. Now, go ahead and float up above your timeline again and go ahead and float all the way into your future. I want you to find one more event. It's probably whittling down quite a bit. There might not be much, but I just find a tiny little event about which you might be anxious or have anxiety about in the future. When you find that event, float down into that event and walk yourself through the positive outcome of that event. Remember those rules of upset. We don't know what's going to happen, so we're going to walk through the positive outcome using our active imaginations in order to draw our subconscious mind into a positive future, following the psychological rule of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So go ahead and walk yourself through the positive outcome. Make sure it's totally positive. After that, go ahead and float up above that event and way past that event. Get way out there. Make sure you are well above and after that event. Turn and look towards now. Now, where's that anxiety on that one event? Is it there or is it gone now? That's right, isn't it? It's gone now, isn't it? Make sure you're way past the positive outcome of that event. Turn and look towards now. And go ahead and float all the way back to now, easily and effortlessly, only as fast as you can let go of all of that anxiety, all the way back to now. Easily and effortlessly, that's right. And when you get back to now, go ahead and float back into your body, easily and effortlessly. Now, how do you feel? Now we've done it 3 times, and this is a magic number for the subconscious mind. We tend to generalize things at a number of 3. So it's a very powerful practice when we do it 3 times. So how do you feel? How do you feel that you've gone through this 3 times now? Wiping the anxiety. You're probably going, how is this possible? I've had anxiety. I've had it for so long. How did I just get rid of it? How did I do that? You spent 5 minutes with Forrest and what happened? So it's a wonderful, wonderful process. We're learning how to use our minds in a very positive way So congratulations. And now you got to figure out, what am I going to do with my extra time? I used to worry and be anxious. Now what am I going to do with this extra time? Maybe you can read a good book. Maybe you can watch one of my videos. So lots of wonderful positive things that we can do to replace this worry and anxiety that we used to carry around on our shoulders all the time. And now we're free of that, aren't we? Isn't that wonderful? Freeing yourself from anxiety, freeing yourself from negative emotions using timeline therapy is a wonderful way to kickstart a deep meditation. So I hope you notice how this serves your meditations in the near future. I hope you love this video. I hope you love this information. I hope it makes you completely anxiety-free so you can walk through your days in ease. And it doesn't mean we ignore all the hard things. It means that we meet them with a sense of wonder and triumph and the belief in ourselves that we have the power to move forward in our lives easily and effortlessly. So if you love this, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time. Anxiety free.